Happening now, addressing homelessness in Jamestown.
We were able to order really air inflatable beds.
We detail the plan to open an emergency shelter next. And we're explaining why there was an explosion of brush fires here in Chautauqua County. Plus, we're hearing exclusively from a local World War II vet.
I was moving 300-pound bombs, 50 caliber ammunition from one island to another island.
About his service nearly 80 years ago.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Those stories and more are coming up, but first, the city of Jamestown officials are currently setting up 2 emergency homeless shelters with plans to open before temperatures take a dive. Our Bronson Rasmussen joins us live in the newsroom today with more on these 2 incoming shelters. Bronson?
Justin, located at Joy Fellowship Free Methodist Church at 515 East 7th Street and another at the Gateway Center on Water Street. Combined, each will have close to 30 beds. Homelessness has been an issue within the city limits recently, and with deadly cold temperatures on the horizon, Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist believes that it is imperative to get these structures up and running.
Well, the shelters are just for whenever there's a code blue day, which is the temperature is below 32 degrees in the city or in the county. Those individuals can then go to these emergency shelters for the evening.
In years past, the city has used state Code Blue funding to rehouse individuals in hotels around the area. In addition to the state's support, the city is also receiving federal funding through the CARES Act that provides an additional $194,000 in extra HUD funding. Local churches are also doing their part.
We have a food pantry, that can help families, that need to get by, until they can, get more food again in their home. But that's what we're there for. We're there to serve the community.
We don't have shelters that are co-ed, and we don't have shelters for families. So the emergency sheltering that we're creating works to solve those issues. All of our current shelters are full, and so to have a place for people to go that will be open and will take things that our shelters currently do not is a huge component of helping our homelessness in the city of Jamestown.
Beds that are bed bug proof will be used. Ways to provide community resources and medical aid are also in the talks. Jamestown's largest shelter currently can hold 22 individuals and is at capacity. The mayor hopes that these additional beds will be enough to provide shelter and safety from the elements to anyone struggling. Live in the newsroom, Bronson Rasmussen, WNY News Now.
Bronson, thank you. A City of Dunkirk woman has been arrested and faces felony charges after allegedly causing serious injury to a child. The county DA's office announced the arrest of 34-year-old Tatiana Barrios on Thursday. While details of this incident were withheld, prosecutors charged Barrios with multiple counts of felony assault and endangering the welfare of a child. The alleged crime took place sometime in April of 2021. However, following an investigation by the sheriff's office, she was located and taken into custody this week. And a 36-year-old woman has pled guilty to her alleged role in a drug trafficking operation in Jamestown. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Buffalo says that Rochelle Allison pled guilty to federal charges. It was alleged that Allison worked with her then-boyfriend Ryan Bloom to sell heroin, fentanyl, and methamphetamine. Specifically, prosecutors said she networked on Facebook to peddle the drugs out of her Fairview Avenue residence in Jamestown. Numerous drug overdoses occurred at that residence, and as a result of the illicit activity, charges remain pending against Bloom. Around a half a dozen late-season brush fires kept first responders pretty busy in Chautauqua County. From the town of Hanover to Sherman to Frewsburg, crews had their hands full on Thursday. The first fire broke out at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon off of Bragg Road in the town of Carroll, where a man suffered minor burns as a result. While what sparked the flames remains under investigation by the state DEC, Frewsburg Fire Chief Justin Martin tells our crews seeing a brush fire this late in the season is pretty rare. Unseasonal weather likely led to the fire's rapid spread. Martin believes the blaze was contained to only an acre of land, thanks in part to the quick work of his firefighters. ATVs also helped get water to that blaze since it was difficult to reach the wooded area in question.
A lot of these ATVs that we have right now, they're equipped with their own water source, so that helps to get ahead of the fire and at least help knock it down while we get a water source set up.
Now, in addition to burned up vegetation and outbuilding, a tractor and four-wheeler were destroyed as a result of that blaze. Luckily, the nearby homes were not impacted. However, crews did not get on scene as fast as they did. Officials said things could have been so much worse there. A Jamestown area World War II veteran was honored by his friends and families on this Veterans Day. Charlie Walsh signed up to serve in the Second World War alongside his brothers. Working on a Liberty ship, Walsh was part of an exclusive group, the Armed Guard of the Navy.
You were running convoys against the Germans' U-boats. We were moving ships. We'd have 70 ships of supplies protected by destroyers and DE units to try and keep the subs from getting the ships.
From 1944 to 1946, he manned the 22mm artillery, serving first in the Atlantic and later in the Pacific.
I was moving 300-pound bombs, 50 caliber ammunition from one island to another island to get closer and closer to Japan.
His nephew Jim Walsh, an Air Force vet of 29 years, put together a shadow box to document his uncle's service to our country.
I got those same ribbons that are on Uncle Charlie's hat. I got the medals that are attached to each ribbon with the signet of the United States Navy. And we have the anchor and rope. That's traditional symbol of the Navy. His rank, which was
first class seaman.
Mr. Walsh's family is proud, most of all thankful for their time together, sharing stories of the greatest generation.
I want to pass that on to my kids. I have 3 boys and a daughter, and none of them have been in the military, but I have, and they know people in my family have, but they know the importance of it, even if they haven't served themselves.
The 76-year-old currently lives at Brookdale Senior Community in Lakewood. By displaying the shadow box in his room, his family hopes all visitors will take some time to thank Mr. Walsh for his service, but most of all, time to sit and chat about his experiences over 78 years ago. Wow, really incredible. Thank you for your service and for all of our veterans on this Veterans Day. Well, now let's switch gears and get a first check of our weather forecast. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joining us. And Dakota, it's such a pleasure for us to be able to bring these stories to the forefront. Really, it is.
Yeah, and I've mentioned before, I have friends and family who's been in the military before, so I just got to say thank you to all of you who have served, because of course we wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for all of you. And but unfortunately for this Veterans Day, we do have rain coming in. You can see from the Mayville Skycam, and this is tropical rain from the remnants of Nicole. It's now surging up the northeast. You can see the yellow pockets in here at times. That's starting to indicate the moderate to heavy amounts of rain, and there will be some heavy rain today. So for that, the NOAA Weather Prediction Center has the far eastern southern tier under a slight risk for flash flooding. Understand, this is not the severe weather outlook. This is the flash flooding outlook. So there could be some heavy rain, especially further off to the east today. Could be maybe some minor flooding issues as well. We started the day at 52. The high yesterday was 65, 69, and 12 are the records. So through the afternoon, tropical rain showers continue to spread north to south. Heavy rain, or south to north, I should say, not north to south, other way around. Heavy at times, 57 to 64, but a big pattern change comes away for the weekend. We'll talk about it with the Ultimate Satellite Solutions 7-Day later in the show, Jeff.
Very much. We'll see you back in just a bit. As we continue, we're taking a look at new records now set in this past election, the number of female governors. And later, do you remember your childhood toys? Well, they could be part of the National Toy Hall of Fame. More on that when we come back.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvanna Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Looking for a fair and honest auto mechanic? Look no further than WNY Auto Service. Located at 140 Main Street in Randolph, our family-owned business is ready for all of your automotive needs. From general service to more complex repairs, count on WNY Auto to keep you on the road. We not only keep your cars running smoothly, but also looking great with our expert detailing crew. Send us a message on Facebook or call us today at 716-358-2292 to set up an appointment. WNY Auto Service. Fair, honest, and the best prices guaranteed.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
A project to turn what otherwise could be an overlooked infrastructure element into a vibrant nighttime display is now complete. And the newly installed light displays are now in several places and across several landmarks of Jamestown's waterfront. While officials have been testing the feature over the past few weeks, Mayor Eddie Sundquist, along with other local leaders, gathered at Panzarella Park to officially flip the switch on the Riverwalk illumination project on Thursday night. The new colors light up the Jamestown Board of Public Utilities coal silo, Washington Street Bridge piers and abatements, and the Main Street Bridge arches over the Chattacoin River. Mayor Sundquist hopes that this will help transform what otherwise would be a moot structure and bring new life to it, while expanding the use and purpose of the already popular Riverwalk.
We're trying to take those buildings, those items that, during the day may look like they're eyesores, may look like they've got some other purpose, but at night, if we're able to light them up and change the mood, the look, the feel, people feel more comfortable around them.
Another cool feature here, the lights are interconnected as part of a citywide system. So going forward, each of the landmarks can be paired together to put on similar displays around our town. Well, this year's midterm elections. The midterm elections has set a new record number of female governors. Our New York Capitol correspondent Elise Klein spoke to the Center for Women in American Politics about what this could mean for the future of women in politics.
This year's midterm election set a new record for female governors. Across the nation, 10 women were elected governor, and 2 races yet to be called have female candidates on each side. Therefore, in total, 2023, the nation will have 12 women in gubernatorial offices. The last record was set in 2004 when 9 female governors served concurrently, according to the Center for Women in American Politics at Rutgers University.
Any of these women who are governor are really disrupting the idea of what an executive leader looks like, right? The kind of default image is an older white man. And these women are really breaking through that stereotype.
This week, Kathy Hochul became New York's first elected female governor, and she wasn't the only one. Massachusetts and Arkansas also elected their first female governor. The other states with elected female governors this year are Michigan, Kansas, New Mexico, Alabama, Iowa, South Dakota, and Maine. Arizona and Oregon continue to count ballots with female gubernatorial candidates on each side. Walsh said this year the governor's race is even more important following the Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade.
And I think pre the Dobbs decision, abortion was not on voters' minds in the same way because it was decided law, right? It was something that they didn't think they needed to think about. Turns out they did.
She adds the Supreme Court decision in many ways put abortion on the ballot. Walsh also highlighted today that often presidential candidates come from governors, and this new record, she said, essentially creates a deeper bench for women to potentially become presidential candidates. In Albany, Elise Klein, WNY News Now.
A federal court struck down President Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness program. The judge in Texas declared it illegal. The conservative group, the Jobs Creator Network, filed the lawsuit back in October on behalf of 2 borrowers who did not qualify for debt relief. The White House disagreed with the ruling and vowed to continue to fight it. Well, some welcome news to talk about today. Inflation numbers are cooling off more than expected in October. Mike Valero is breaking down the data for us.
The headline, better than expected news on inflation, as the rate of price increases is still falling from a 4-decade high. New data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics out Thursday show the higher prices we're paying for everyday items slowed further last month, dropping from a peak in June. Economic analyst Rana Farohar says American finances are strong and
you've also now got a report that says inflation is starting to dampen. Boy, that could be game-changing for the markets and for the American public in the next couple of years.
Still, analysts note prices in crucial areas remain higher than last year, and people are feeling the pinch.
What's particularly troubling is that the areas where we are seeing the largest and most consistent increases are categories that are absolute necessities, food, energy, and shelter.
As Thanksgiving approaches, food is still getting more expensive, but at a slower pace than earlier this year. There's also the renewed threat of a rail strike in early December, which could cripple the supply chain.
If you have renewed disruptions to the supply chain, that is going to add another element of price pressure that either pushes prices higher or just keeps them from falling like we'd like to see.
The question now, could this preview the end of big interest rate hikes?
The bottom line is, we need to see a sustained moderation in inflation pressures. 1 in a row is not a streak. We need a long winning streak.
The Fed makes its next rate hike decision on December 14th. I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
Mike, thank you. Well, remember these toys from your childhood, a spinning top, light bright, and Masters of the Universe action figures. They were all inducted into the National Toy Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is part of the Strong Museum in Rochester. A 23-member committee of toy experts chose the 2022 inductees, including the public, which voted online. A Strong Museum spokesman said the inductees have stood the test of time and influenced culture. Certainly, so many kids probably have great memories of those kids who are now adults anyways. Coming up next, we're going to be meeting a new furry friend who's up for adoption as part of our Pet of the Week segment. And a little bit later after that, we're taking a look at a benefit this weekend that's going to be doing a lot of good here in our community, helping out the folks at our city's only soup kitchen. Stay with us.
When severe weather breaks, one team has you covered, tracking the storms as they happen. Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now. WNY News Now is covering stories that matter to you.
15-year-old Yadiel Diaz was subject to a public humiliation stunt by a fellow student in an act of violence and bullying. Now Yadiel's mother, Raquel, has had enough.
Officials are trying to work with the county's homeless coalition to help support the homeless population locally. There are also plans in the works to build 2 new shelters.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Walking from Jamestown to Orchard Park is a long trek, but when rallying for a good cause, anything is possible. Starting on November 11th, I'm walking over 60 miles to the Buffalo Bills Stadium, raising money for 2 great causes: Harrison's Playmakers and foster care in Chautauqua County. Learn more about my journey and to donate at ccsolutions716.com.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense weather.
Welcome back, everybody. That sunset is getting sooner and sooner. We're now into the 4 p.m. hour for sunset, 4:59 tonight. And look at where it will be by next Thursday, 4:54. So, yeah, we're starting to lose again more daylight, but we're not going to gain daylight again until the winter solstice occurs next month. Also, don't forget, next Tuesday, the National Weather Service in Buffalo is holding storm spotter training up in Mayville. This is the winter time session. So the winter session focuses on obviously winter weather, snow, ice, anything like that. The spring sessions focus on severe weather. That's at 7 o'clock at the county municipal building at 2 Academy Street, and you do have to register, so go to weather.gov/BUF/Skywarn to become a trained spotter. We need more spotters. Again, spotters are crucial. Radar looks above the ground, spotters look at ground level, so it's very important. We got some rain falling downtown right now. It's the tropical rain that we've had over the past few hours. 58 degrees as of noon hour, though the wind is light, but with the dew point up at 58 and the temperature at 58, we do have some fog, 2.5 mile visibility at the airport. The next weather maker is really going to be cold air. Take a look at the temperatures over the next 5 days. We go 60 today, 48 in fall. Tomorrow, that 48 will be in the morning. Then we're stuck in the 30s through next week, and we do see some snow setting up next week as well. Here's all that tropical moisture surging northward from the remnants of Nicole. This is all tropical rain, so tropical rain tends to be heavier in nature. And again, you can see those heavier rain bands now sneaking into the southern tier. So here's the newest Runner Future Scan showing you those heavier downpours at times with the tropical rain. So everybody's going to be getting rainfall today. Some of the heavier bands may set up a little bit further off to the east. Cap County a little bit further off to the east. We'll still hang on to showers through the overnight and then through tomorrow, but as temperatures drop tomorrow through the day, look at what comes our way by the evening. We start to change over to some rain and snow showers, turning all snow for Saturday night, and then as we go into Sunday, lake effect snow will start to set up and we could see some accumulation out of that. So rainfall through today, we could be looking at over 1.5 inches, maybe upwards of 2 inches in spots, so that could lead to some localized. Now in terms of the snowfall projections going all the way through Sunday, we could be looking at about 2 to 3 inches worth of snow. These numbers still need to be adjusted, but this is what we're looking at right now from the lake effect. So not a big deal in terms of the lake effect snow, but more snowfall accumulation for the season. Now the next 7 days, powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. So again, temperatures remain in the 30s through much of next week. After the lake effect snow showers end on Tuesday, mostly cloudy, we get a chance, Justin, for a few rain and snow showers both Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah, so it looks like the first significant event anyways here, Dakota. Thank you very much for that. And now, time for my favorite segment, our Pet of the Week. Joining me live in studio is Brian Papalea with 2 new furry friends today who are just chilling with all this rainy weather we got out there.
Well, you're holding Butternut, and I've got Gord. And they have kind of an interesting story. Our vet tech, Molly, who was on a couple weeks ago, she was coming back from camping, and on the way back, they saw a box on the side of the road, and kittens in it. And when they went to get the kittens, one of them, I believe, ran under the car because they were scared. I mean, the car was parked, and everything. But yeah, I think actually one of them had a car maybe drive over them. I think that was that. See, we have enough stories like this where it's easy to get them confused.
Wow.
But I believe one either it was close or did go under a car, but thankfully did not get hurt.
And these little guys like this, I mean, to leave them out in the wood, like out in the wild like that, that's not good, obviously. So glad she found them, and seems like they're doing pretty well now.
Yeah, they're very good. It's interesting because they actually are so wanting of attention that when you put them down, like when I took the pictures to send to you today, I was holding them. They're very happy. And the second they went back into their home, they're like whining and crying. They're like, "Hey, what about me? What about me?"
Right.
But you can see they love their attention.
Absolutely, and they're both girls, as we mentioned. And Butternut here, I love her color, really. And you have like a little bit of the butternut. It's hard to tell, I think, on camera, but it's
really faint.
And she's just such a beautiful cat. They both really are.
Mm-hmm.
And with the kittens like this, is this something where you want them both to try to go home together?
It's not necessary, but if it's, say, a first-time pet owner, they are very social animals. They like to have friends.
Yeah.
And, if you get kittens at a young age like this, they will, do well together. They'll have their squabbles like kids will.
Oh, yeah.
But, for the most part, things will go good. They'll grow up together. And especially, like, if, there's kids in the house, the kids can grow up with them. Something that I don't think gets talked about enough is, especially if you have kids or, someone in your home that likes to do crafts and stuff, they like to think, they like to be challenged with puzzle boxes and different toys.
Really? I've never thought about it in that way.
My daughter actually just took, we have 3 cats at home, and they're actually a little older, and she took some like parts of pop bottles and cardboard and different things and, made a little and she calls it an enrichment project.
Right.
But they love it. You know, they get some treats. They get to think about how to get those treats.
And even though they are so little, they definitely can fit in many environments.
Yeah.
What types of things should somebody do to prepare themselves if they see these guys and want to adopt?
Well, one of the things when you get home, you know, if you don't have any pets, you still want to give them maybe a little space that can be their own for a little bit, you know, say a bathroom or a small bedroom, because that's a lot. They're going from living in a cage at the shelter to a house.
Right.
But, you know, just to make sure you have the time to really put into it to spend with them, which isn't, you know, like cats, so it's not like you have to be there 24/7, but it's good to make them comfortable in their environment and get your vet care set up and all that.
Right, absolutely.
Something if I can throw in, these guys are going to be, or gals, sorry, are going to be tomorrow. There's a craft fair at the Kinetic building down here in downtown Jamestown.
Yeah.
And they're up for adoption, obviously. And if you want to stop in, meet them, adopt them, get a photo with them. We've been doing cat photos for a donation, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we'd love to see people down there from 9 to 2 tomorrow.
All right. And Butternut has just made herself comfortable. She's been trying to find a spot throughout this whole segment, purring the entire time. And I hate to break it to you, but that's all the time we have. So I got to let you go. I'm so no, she says no. No. Brian,
That's
thank you
awesome.
again.
Thank you.
Check them out tomorrow. And, of course, all details at chqhumane.org. And, heck, if you like them right now, call the Humane Society. And I'm sure you can set up a time to see them and take them home. Well, coming up next, we have details behind a fun weekend that's slated to benefit a good cause here locally. How you can help Jamestown's only soup kitchen. Next.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Walking from Jamestown to Orchard Park is a long trek, but when rallying for a good cause, anything is possible. I'm Patrick Smeraldo, and I need your help to get there. Starting on November 11th, I'm walking over 60 miles to the Buffalo Bills Stadium, raising money for two great causes: Harrison's Playmakers and foster care in Chautauqua County. Harrison's Playmakers is a non-profit launched by former Buffalo Bills defensive tackle Harrison Phillips to connect kids with disabilities in sports. Furthermore, donations for this 3-day hike will also benefit CASA of Chautauqua County and the Stone family, who are assisting local foster care children during National Adoption Month. Learn more about my journey and to donate at ccsolutions716.com.
Welcome back. Jamestown's local soup kitchen, the St. Susan Center, has teamed up with a local family bar hosting a fundraiser this weekend in Greenhurst. Julia Gress has the story.
Jeff White of Pedro and the Smooth Cats will be performing at the house that Jack built. Co-owner Kayla Harrison says she is excited to utilize her family's space for such a good cause.
We are good friends with Jeff White from Pedro and the Smooth Cats. He's a local musician here, and he has had a history of doing many musical things for fundraisers. And he approached us and he said, "I'd really like to do it at the house that Jack built." And we said, well, we love community fundraisers. Let's do it.
St. Susan's executive director, Sherry Rowland, explained that Jeff White's group has a long history with St. Susan's.
Jeffrey Wright originally began his roots with St. Susan in 1996. He and local church choirs around the area produced a song called "A Real Big Need," and I got to listen to it, and it's beautiful.
The director says recent inflation, especially in dairy products, has caused a greater demand at the center. However, this inflation has also caused the center's operating costs to rise.
From third quarter last year to third quarter this year, we've seen an 18% jump in the amount of meals we're serving.
The fundraiser will take place Saturday, November 12th from noon until 5 p.m. There will also be raffle drawings once an hour, with the entry fee for a ticket being one canned food item. Along with Jeff White's band, Bill Ward and the Geezers will also play. A portion of the proceeds from a chicken barbecue will also be given to the center. Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. What an excellent opportunity to support the community. And honestly, I think one of the most direct ways you can do it, right? They're putting together these homeless shelters now, but there are people who aren't even homeless who maybe need a little extra help. And the St. Susan Center, one of my favorite ways to do it. Well, that is going to do it for us here today. Of course, news continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. Stay dry out there today as we leave you with a live look outside of our studio. Have a great week.